I filming this? You might ask, why are you on your floor? Why are you filming this? Why are you in front of a big brown cabinet? Well, it's because, first of all, my home is really messy, so I don't want else to see that. And you're like, why don't you fix it then? Well, it's because I live with my parents, and that's not weird in Hong Kong, so don't come for me. But I thought it'd be cool to rant about what I have on my mind, which is immigration. And now everybody that knows me knows that I would like to go to the States because a bunch of reasons that I won't really get into right now. Maybe I will later, but not now. And it's really hard, and I feel like Americans don't have like a good understanding of it being so hard. So I thought it would be really fun to go into some detail about how the U.S. immigration system works. Like I feel like on one side there's like people who are super anti-immigrant, and on the other side there's people who are like, yes, we like immigrants, but I have no idea how it works, and like I feel like I think I do, but I also don't. So let me give you like a real like insight on how immigration works. Also, I'll be doing my makeup while I do this video because I just thought, why not? You know, it'll be fun. So, like I don't know, I don't like boring like lawyer videos about like immigration stuff, and I just thought it'd be really fun. You know, kind of like sitting and like talking with the rest of the girls, but it's just me. So, I have my curling iron here, but it's like a bit of a reach out, so I apologize in advance. But oh, sorry, let me just section my hair because oh my gosh, I burned myself. But let me just section my hair first. It's gonna look super stupid, but I promise it'll be like it'll be good when I'm done. But okay, let me get started talking about like what was like my gripe with immigration. And like I guess my gripe is like obviously that's so hard, and like Americans don't really seem to understand the fact that it's so hard. They just seem to be like, oh well, like if you work hard you'll make it. They're like, no girl, like just because you work hard doesn't mean that you're gonna make it. Like if hard work was a thing that guaranteed you success when you immigrate, then like so many people would be there. But it's really like a luck based system. So let me like explain how that works. Okay, so like how somebody gets to immigrate like permanently to the United States is through like two main pathways, I would say. So like the first one is through employment, and the second one is through family. So I'm obviously most familiar with employment, so I'm going to talk about that. And I've got like my sorry, I've got like my spreadsheet all the way up here talking about like how hard it is to like move to the States. Okay, the other gripe I have, by the way, in advance, is that like people are always like, oh, but like we're like, oh, but like all people are stealing our jobs, and like you don't understand, and like people should like protect American jobs. And like to some extent I do actually agree with that, because like depending on the visa type, I guess like sometimes it makes more sense for your employer to hire like an immigrant. But also like I don't feel like it's as easy as people are claiming it is. I think they're just mad because like, oh my gosh, this is not working. I think it's too thin. Let me clip like a better section. But like see, I hate when like it curls at the end like this and I don't manage, and like now it's all bent. Like stupid. Anyways, I feel like people don't really have a good understanding of how visas work, as I said before. So let me talk about like the most common visa type that people use to get in. But before we do that, I will say, when you're trying to get like an employment visa in the US, it's usually like you start off being a student there, because like if you're not, it's like really hard for like a company to justify hiring you like without like a local education, because like I think like most countries, like obviously they would want like you to have studied in that country, because it just makes sense. Like they would prioritize people with like local degrees, right? Normally like not in Hong Kong, I would say. But yeah, so like most people start by studying there, so that's why I feel like it's important to like start off with that. So when you study in the US, when you try to get your student visa, which by the way is called an F1, when you try to study in the US, you need to show them like something called a Form I-20. And what a Form I-20 is a proof of funds to prove that like you have the means to study in the US. And like you can't just show like what's in your bank account. Like you gotta show like liquid funds. Like it's not like you pull out like a big like crate of like cash. Like you have to like show that like you have like liquid funds in your bank account in case anything like goes wrong. And like your Form I-20 is issued by the university, and they state like exactly like to the cent how much money you might need to survive for 1 year. So what you need for an I-20 is basically just like the amount that they show, and like usually they like inflate the I-20 because like they assume that you're gonna spend you're gonna spend like a certain amount, and like most people don't actually spend like what's on their I-20. They spend less than that because like, you know, you're not gonna spend like that much money if you're like if you're like not that rich. But like anyways, an I-20, they set like a certain amount. It's based on like tuition plus like housing plus like whatever else you might need, and then you have to show like exactly that amount. But like usually people go for like maybe like 1.5 times that amount, I heard, is the norm, but some people they might show more than that. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. I don't know if you can see like the thumbs up, I guess because of like the way that I'm holding this. Also, oh, that's so stupid. Anyway, also, I know that I'm curling my hair wrong. I know you're not supposed to curl it this way, but I don't care. So, bear with me. You know, like I'm still learning how to curl my hair, and it's like really sucky. But anyways, is this like even a curl? You know, I'm gonna leave it. I don't really care. So, anyway, let me get to the point. So you would show exactly what's on your Form I-20, and they would inflate it a little bit, of course, because like they want to like you to prove that like you can actually like afford to like study and like live there for 1 year. And like in the US, like I know that there's like cheap community colleges and stuff, like for locals, by the way. Like if you're local, it's cheap for you, but if you're not, it's not going to be. So like if you're an international student, it doesn't even matter if it's community college. Like I know that people like save money doing community college, but like not for international. So like even then, you're still looking at like an average of like I would say 50,000 at the minimum for 1 year. And like people who can afford to study abroad, they would probably be dropping like 60K, like 80K, 90K per year. It depends where you go to school, of course, but like I think if you can afford, like if you're in a tax bracket where you can afford to study abroad, then you're gonna be like 90K. And like obviously that like makes people be like, well, like if studying abroad is so rich, like it's obviously only for like super privileged people who can afford to do immigration stuff, and like where like if they don't make it, then I guess it's not a big deal for them because they make so much money. And like yeah, that's true, but I also feel like it's not very fair to just say that only like the super rich can afford to study abroad, you know? So that's why I feel like that's where I have another gripe. Okay, so anyway, that's your Form I-20, and like if you don't show your Form I-20 and they don't approve it, then like you're just not going. So that's already a financial barrier that you need to have. No loans, by the way. No like stocks that you have, they won't accept that. It has to be liquid funds. You can borrow, and you can show like a form that shows that like you can show a loan sanction, that's also okay, but it has to be liquid funds. It can't be like property, or it can't be like anything like that. So okay, after you get your Form I-20, then like also you can get like an affidavit from like somebody that lives in the US. So like if you've got family that live there and they're like willing to help pay for it, or like pay for your room and board, then you don't have to show a certain amount of like room and board because like somebody's paying for you. But oh my gosh, also like I don't know what's wrong with my voice, but let me just get to the point. So after your Form I-20, you like I will say like you have to go for like a visa interview, and the thing about getting an F1 visa is that it's not an immigrant visa, which means you're not supposed to try to like immigrate into the country, which like I find super stupid, because the main appeal of like studying abroad for most people is like the chance to like work there or like live there or like even move there, because like if not, then like what's the point, right? And like I think like only like super rich, super privileged people who have like really good lives in their home country can afford to be like, oh well, it doesn't matter if I don't manage to get there because like it's just a cultural experience. And like even if it were just a cultural experience, like you would just travel there and like you would just do like a year abroad, and like that would be fine. Like you wouldn't have to go and like study and spend like 80K 90K per year just to study there, right? So like somehow you have to prove to immigration that you're not trying to move there. And obviously like a lot of people do want to study in the States in the hopes that they can move there, which I find super reasonable, but like you're not allowed to do that, because if you said that, then they would like reject your application. So like every single international student is a liar. Unless they truly plan like not to like not live there, long term, every international student is a liar. Like they're all planning to leave there. So like I'm sure like most of them are planning to like live there, but like they're just gonna lie about it because like obviously. um so anyways, yeah. um Anyways, after you've lied on your application and you've lied to your immigration officer that you don't plan to stay in the states, after your degree is over, then you can go ahead and you can, I guess, get your F1 visa. And like, you're not just paying your I-20, by the way, you're paying your I-20 4 times if you're doing an undergraduate degree. And like, I think Trump is like making these like changes where like you have to like leave immediately after your 4 years is up, which is so stupid because like then you also lose like you also lose, what's it called, like orientation and like finding your way around and stuff like that. Like it's so stupid. I feel like this administration has no idea how immigration works, or like they have like a really unrealistic image of like what life is like for like somebody immigrating, and like they have no incentive to fix it. By the way, there's like no incentive to make it better because like we are not citizens in that country at the end of the day. So like they like, what is the incentive to be helping people that like aren't even nationals of your country, you know? So like it'll just never get fixed to be honest, unless like there's a big need for like immigrants, which I think like, I don't know, I don't think they're really like hurting for immigrants right now under the Trump administration. But so I'm like trying to get this like piece of hair out of my curling iron. I can't, whatever, I guess it's stuck now. It's like a cheap iron from Miniso because it was the first iron that I got. Once again, I know I'm curling it wrong, but I don't really care because whatever, we ball. So anyway, also the other stupid thing about an F1 visa is that you can't work for more than 20 hours and it has to be on campus, which like, I guess the aim is like so that you don't steal jobs from like American people, but like, I don't know, like it just makes it so inaccessible for like most people who want to study abroad. And like, okay, I know that people are gonna be like, oh well, it's a privilege to study abroad, oh like, you know, like you can't just be like entitled enough to be like, oh but like I deserve to study abroad. Like obviously like I don't feel entitled to studying abroad, but like I feel like it'd just be really nice to have that opportunity, you know, especially like when you're from, oh I gotta stretch this, especially when you're from like, you know, like a certain country, I guess, where like it's like hard for you or life is hard for you. Like I don't feel like it should be that inaccessible, you know, like other people should have these privileges because like why not, you know, like it's a globalizing world. I just don't see why not. But anyways, so you can't work for more than 20 hours and it has to be like on campus. And like to be fair, I do know a lot of people that like work like as private tutors, or they work like as like bartenders and stuff to afford school. Like mind you, that's really illegal, but I know people do it all the time because like life is tough, and that's why I don't judge them, because like it really is tough. Like imagine spending like 50K, 60K, 80K, 90K, and like your parents are spending so much money and like you can't even work. So like, you know, like I understand, and I wouldn't judge people who are doing it. Oh my, this is so bad. Oh, actually never mind, it's just like a strand that like I didn't curl. Anyways, like I get it, and I wouldn't shame people who like need the money, I guess, and like are trying to just make ends meet for their parents. Not that I'm not saying I'm doing that because I don't live in the US right now and I never have, but I get it, is what I'm trying to say. So okay, besides that stupid rule, let's say you like graduate from the US. Oh, by the way, you can't get any like scholarships. Like I'm sure like some schools they definitely offer scholarships to international students, but it's really not a lot. So like you have to be rich to study abroad. Unless you know some kind of like crazy ass loophole, please let me know. But anyway, let's say that like you somehow managed to study abroad and like you have like graduated and you're trying to look for jobs. Now, oh my gosh, this is so bad. Oh my god. Let's try this again. And if we can't do it, then it's like let's combine like strands. Okay. Yes, it worked. Kind of. It's really bad, but I don't really care. So anyway, let's say that you managed to like graduate and like you managed to like graduate and like you're trying to find a job in the States. So what happens is you need to get like something called an OPT, which you need to apply for like during your undergraduate, by the way. Like you can't apply for it like after, or else you're gonna run out of time. So an OPT is short for optional practical training, and like like it's optional, so like you don't have to do it, but that's why you've got to apply during your undergrad, because like you're gonna run out of time. So this is so stupid, by the way, like these little curly ends, it's just because I can't get it in, and like when I do, it doesn't curl right, so I don't really know what to do with that. I'm sorry that this curling iron is so creaky, but it is what it is. Let's see if that works. It probably won't, but whatever. So you get your OPT, and what your OPT is a way to like gain experience like after your graduation. But like once again, it's not a visa, and it's on F1. Like you can only get an OPT if you have an F1 visa, and basically, like it's a way to, I guess, like get work experience, but like also, like you're not supposed to be immigrating on that one. So like again, you have to like lie about your intentions of like staying in the US, but it is a path to being there, because like without local experience, then like how are you gonna get a job, girl? So that's your OPT. And like if you're on a STEM, like if you're a STEM student, then you can have like you can apply for like a 1-year extension, so you get 2 years of OPT. But if you're not STEM, by the way, nursing is not one of the STEM degrees. If you're not STEM, then you only get 1 year. So it's meant to be like legally, it's supposed to be like a cultural exchange, where like you get to like work in the US for like a year and be like, oh, like I got like US working experience, and like I'm grateful for like this exchange opportunity. And like that's what you're supposed to say, but like obviously a lot of people on OPT want to immigrate into the States. And like, to be fair, I shouldn't be speaking for people, but I just know. So like, because like why else would they, you know, like use your brain. So let me curl this stupid ass baby hair, if it will curl, because it's so skinny. Let's see. Oh, I guess like a little bit. Oh, never mind, it fell out. Whatever. I don't care. I don't care. I'm too tired for this. But like, so anyways, so you get your OPT. And your OPT is a way for you to like basically like have exchange experience working in the States for like a year, and then you're supposed to go home. And like, sorry, I'm like reading my notes. But like, you imagine like you go for OPT and you're like praying that your employer likes you enough to like put you like sponsor another visa type for you that's like job based, which like they're not likely to do, but I'm gonna get into like why later. So this is so stupid. Oh my god, I hate these like stupid like hairs that won't curl, but like whatever. So like you got pray that like your company likes you enough to sponsor you, which they probably won't, just because like it's so expensive too. But like you've already spent like what, like over $100,000 like on this degree, and like your parents are probably like they're like banking on you, and like you got so much pressure to try to get this, and like just imagine, right? It's super tough. So like somehow like if you don't get like, if your employer doesn't want to sponsor you, then like you're fucked basically. If you think about it that way. And I feel like only like the really rich people get to like afford the privilege to be like, okay, whatever, it's fine, like it was an experience and like I'm good with that. So like it's a big like loss on investment if your OPT employer doesn't want to sponsor your work visa. So like the way immigration is like it's a privilege that like only like a few people are supposed to have. Like you're never meant to be able to immigrate, which I think is stupid, because like people should be allowed to dream. But anyways, that's OPT. So if your employer likes you enough to sponsor you for your visa, you've got like two main types of visas that lets you, I guess, like work in the States or like live there on like a permanent basis. So the most common one that most people know about is called H-1B. And the reason why people know about it is because Trump recently tried to like enact a law where like he said like if you're applying for H-1B outside of the States, then like you have to pay like $100,000 fee, which like has been struck down recently in court. Sorry, I'm like getting a hive here. It's so, oh my gosh, I hate this. But like I'm like literally crashing out and like giving myself hives. But like what that is like if you applied outside of the States, then like you had to like pay like your employer, not you, but like your employer had to pay like $100,000 fee just so you could get your H-1B. And like only like 30 something people who ever like applied for H-1B in that period ever actually paid for that $100,000 fee. And like luckily it was struck down, but like it does give you an idea of like how people are treated when they're immigrants. So yeah, anyways, what is H1B? H1B is a it's not an immigration visa, by the way, so you're not supposed to be able to immigrate on it, but it is dual intent, which means that like you're allowed to apply for a green card. Like compared to like F1, you're not allowed to apply, but like on like H1B, like you're allowed to apply for a green card, and like they won't stop you basically. Like your employer can also sponsor you, but what was I gonna say? Sorry, let me just see if I can curl this like bigger section, and then we will finish with the hair. But like yeah, so like it is dual intent, so like you're allowed to apply for a green card on H1B, and it is an employment visa, and like it lets you work temporarily, by the way. It's not like a full-time visa. Like it lets you work temporarily in the States for like up to I think like 5 or 6 years, don't quote me on that one, and then you're supposed to go home. Like it's like a skilled workers visa, so you're supposed to have like a visa, like like a university degree for it. And like I know a lot of tech bros are really mad at H1B visa holders because they're like, oh, they're stealing our jobs. Now like to some extent I kind of get it, because they're not screening like H1B visa holders for like whether like an American can do your job or not. So like I kind of get it, but like I will also say like for H1Bs, like it's supposed to be temporary, and like that's like that means like your employer has to like do like legal fees, or like pay a lot of money to hire an H1B. Like it depends where you're from, I guess. Like some places are cheaper than others to like get your H1B, but like they also have to like there's also the fact that like you're gonna like leave in like a couple of years, so it's like why would they want to hire someone who has to leave within a couple of years? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm gonna try to take this ponytail out without the curls coming loose, but that's my hair. Oh god, it's so bad. Hold on. Wait, oh, it's not so bad actually. It's like not amazing, but it's not awful in my eyes anyway. It's not terrible in my eyes. Let me just curl like a last little section that I guess didn't get curled, but yeah, so it is like it is a temporary visa. You're not supposed to be on it for like a very long time, and like your employer has to pay like extra fees. So I'm like going in circles, I don't know how to talk, but like your employer has to pay like extra fees and like do all this paperwork for you to get in. Like there's just no incentive for like their employer to hire an immigrant. And I guess like we've got like confirmation bias, because like I know a lot of people who want to get an H1B, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm literally getting rejected left and right because I need visa sponsorship. And I kind of get it, because like even when I apply in my home country, I can see employers asking questions like, will you need visa sponsorship like now or in the future? And like I just know that if they have to ask, they're probably not gonna hire you, because like, you know, like it's so expensive to hire an immigrant. And like all of my friends who aren't even in the States, like some of them are in other countries like in the UK, and like they can't get hired because they're immigrants. It's like I kind of get it. But like yeah, so like you can apply for a green card on H1B, and like the reason why it's so hard to like be an immigrant on H1B, even though you technically can, is like I said, because it's so expensive to hire you, and because there's so much paperwork. Like why would they bother? But like also because like it's a lottery based system, so like it does run every year, but you're only allowed 6 tries. And last year there was a law that said that like for like H1B visa holders, like they have changed that system recently, so it's like H1B visa holders now, like your chances will increase depending on like how much experience you have. So my gosh, sorry, like it's cute, I like it. Maybe we'll just do like this strand again, because like it's stupid. But like so what was I saying? I keep losing my train of thought because like videos are super hard to make apparently. But like yeah, so like they changed it to like a lottery based system, like a system where like if you have more experience or like more pay, then like you are like I think like have a 50% likelihood of getting accepted. But until that point, like your chances of getting selected in H1B lottery was only 20%, and like going down every single year. I think it was like 30%, and then it became 20, and then they changed it. But like anyways, that's like how it works. But sorry, oh my god, it keeps falling out. It's such a said, but sorry. Anyways, I keep saying that because it's really hard to multitask. But oh my god, work. No, it fell out. Sad. Anyways, okay, third time's the charm. Please. Yes, no. Okay, I don't even care. Like, you're only allowed 6 tries, and if you don't get it, then you have to go home, or you find another visa type, but it can't be H-1B. And, like, by the way, if you get fired, or, like, you leave your job, you only get 60 days to find a new one. And, like, that will, like, give you H-1B sponsorship, but, like, it's so hard to find a position that gives H-1B sponsorship that, like, it's not realistic to assume, like, think that you'll get one. So, like, that's why it's so hard. And yeah, anyways, it's stupid. So I'm reading my notes, but, like, anyway, you can apply for a green card if you are on H-1B, because, like, technically it is legal, but, like, you have to apply, like, on day one, and, like, I don't know how you're supposed to have conversations with, like, your employer about it, because you can't just be like, oh, hey, like, I know that I'm new, but, like, would you, like, sponsor my green card? Like, it's stupid. It's like, I don't really know how they're doing that. Sorry, like, oh my god, did we cook, chat? Yeah, I think we cooked. Oh, pretty. But yeah, anyway, that's my hair. I have a middle part, so it, like, doesn't fall in the middle. It's, like, stupid in the middle, but we're gonna roll with it. Just go with it. Anyway, so okay, let's get to makeup, and then we'll talk about more about H-1B. But, like, so you have to apply on, like, day one of your green card, or, like, your H-1B, like, starting, which I don't even know how you're supposed to do. Like, to be fair, I've never applied H-1B, so I guess I wouldn't know. And, like, also, like, only certain jobs get H-1Bs. Like, you can, like, for example, if you're, like, a speech pathologist, which I really want to do, like, you can be on H-1B technically if you're a speech pathologist, or, like, a teacher, you can, but, like, obviously, like, not a lot of jobs will get that, because teaching, like, school districts don't have the funding, so most of it goes to, like, tech and finance. So you have to, when you're a student, like, you have to pick, like, a certain degree that, like, is more likely to get you, like, a visa. So the thing about, like, getting a green card, by the way, this is Shiseido, and, like, this took me freaking forever to find. Well, not really, because there were, like, so many people lining up that it took me forever to, like, buy one, and, like, I was looking forever for this because, like, it works so well for, like, Asians, because I've got, like, flat eyes. But anyways, let's talk about the green card process. So, like, it depends, like, which country you're from. Like, if you're from, like, a country that has, like, a really, really long, like, wait time, then, like, you're basically cooked, and you'll never get that green card unless, like, you're on, like, some other kind of visa path. But if it's H-1B, then, like, you're cooked, and, like, you're honestly never gonna get it. And I know that sounds a little bit racist, but, like, that's how the law works, and I wish it didn't. But, like, if you're from China, I think your wait is gonna be, like, 15 years, like, anywhere from, like, 6 to 15 plus years. And if you're from India, the wait is over 100 years long. So it's kind of stupid, and it's kind of cooked, to be honest. I don't know what to do first. I don't know if I should, like, do my lashes first, because, like, every time I curl them, like, it gets uncurled within seconds, so we gotta hurry, because, like, Asian lashes. But, like, oh my god, work please. Okay, and then I can't blink for, like, a little bit. Oh my god, pretty. I can't blink for a little bit, but, like, so if you're from China, you're cooked, and if you're from India, you're also cooked. You're not getting that green card, so you gotta pray that your employer doesn't fire you, because if you get fired, you gotta go home. And, like, you're probably not getting another H-1B, if I'm gonna be honest. Oh my god, we found an uncurled piece of hair. Let me get to that. So, thank god I didn't close the curler. Wait, let me focus on this. So, if you're from China, you're cooked. If you're from India, you're cooked. And like, it's based on country of birth. So like, technically, you can be white, and like, if you were born in China or India, you're not getting the visa anyway. But that's because you were born there. But like, obviously, most like white people like are not gonna be from India and China. So I feel like it's like legal racism, to have like a green card wait time, because like they're like, oh, we want like multiculturalism in the U.S. Like if we only let in like Chinese or like Indian people, then like we don't have diversity. That's why you gotta wait line. But like I think it's stupid. I think it's legal racism. But anyways, so that's why like I have a gripe about the green card and the H-1B system, because if you're from a certain country, then you're just not getting it. So that's how H-1B works. I hope that was like, I hope I made sense. I might not have, because I jumped around so many times. But that's an H-1B. Now there's also I will say like there's like some visa types where like you don't have to like do like a labor check to like see whether like an American can do your job or not, and H-1B is one of them. And that's why people are like, oh, H-1B people are stealing my jobs. But I feel like I've made it pretty clear like why like technically somebody could steal your job, but also like why, like who would want to hire you, like, you know, like you're a citizen, like it's easier for you to get hired compared to like an immigrant, you know, like doesn't make any sense. So I mean, I could be wrong, right? I'm not American. I haven't had my job like stolen, quote unquote, by an immigrant, so I wouldn't know. I imagine it's pretty frustrating. Sorry, I gotta hurry up and curl because it's gonna go flat in like seconds. I imagine it would be frustrating, but like I have to sympathize with an immigrant because it is really hard, and I feel like people don't understand that, and they kind of take like their assumptions out on people who don't actually deserve it. But anyway, at least my lashes look nice. So okay, so H-1B is one of those that like you don't actually need like a labor check. I will get into ones that do, but let's talk about the other ones. So L1A, what that is, or like L1A or L1B, and what those are is like those are visas where like they're for intra-company transfers. So if you work for like a US company, then like if they want to send you to work at their US offices, then they can go and do that. By the way, this is Revlon Color's Day. I do like this one. This is like a classic, and it does wash off easily, which I know people don't like eyeliner that washes off easily, but I do. So who cares? And I say that a lot because I care, but it's okay. So oh my god, let me be very careful with this. Oh. Did we cook? No, we didn't. There's like a little gap, but whatever. Let's like fill it in. Did we cook, chat? I guess a little bit. Whatever. I'm gonna leave it because I don't want to like overdo it. Let's do a little bit at the bottom. I think I'm running out a little bit actually. Like that's why. Oh. Oh my god, yeah, I'm running out of eyeliner. That might be why. I'm gonna leave it. Okay, whatever. I like it. I think it's good. So, let me see what I'm talking about first. Let me check my notes. But like, okay, L1A. So L1A is like a maximum of 6 years. You get to stay in the country for a maximum of 6 years because L1A and L1B is not a immigrant visa. Even though it's not like F1, because like if you can apply for green card on L1A and L1B because it's dual intent, like H1Bs. So you are allowed to apply for a green card, but it's one of those situations once again where like you have to apply from day one because like it's so hard for people in certain countries, and because the backlogs take so damn long that like you're basically never gonna get it if you apply on like a certain day. And oh, I'm running out of eyeliner. There's like a bit at the bottom where it's like not working, but whatever. Oh my god, can you cook please? Let me turn my, yes, okay. So I had to shut up for a bit because I had to like really focus. But oh god, there's like a bit here that stupid. There's like a bit here that's like off, but I'm just gonna leave it for now. We might fix it later, but that is my eyeliner. Let's move on to eyeshadow. So L1A and L1B is an intercompany thing, and you can stay for like a maximum of like 7 years if it's L1A, because that's for a manager, and L1B is for like a regular person, like a regular employee. And like you can apply for a green card because it is dual intent, but like you gotta apply on day one because of how stressful and like how backlogged it is. So like if you're not applying day one, you're just never gonna get it, to be honest. So your employer has to agree to a sponsor, and I don't really know how that works. Like I don't think you can just like go to your employer on day one and be like, hey, I want to immigrate, even though that's like not really in your best interest because you don't really know me. So I don't really know how it's gonna work. Okay, let's move on to another visa type, which is called O1. And O1 means extraordinary ability, and what that is like you have to show extraordinary ability, of course, like in science or the arts or education or business or sport. So the way that you get one is either you win an Oscar or a Nobel Prize or an Olympic medal or a Grammy or anything like that. And like that's another gripe that I have, where like most Americans wouldn't qualify to immigrate to their own country, so they're acting like they're better than us when it's like you wouldn't even qualify to immigrate anyway, so like shut up. Like it's like pure luck that you happen to be born somewhere, so like I wouldn't get all hoity-toity about it, but like you have to get like like you have to get like a like Nobel Prize or something like that to prove that like you have like L1A, oh sorry, like O1 eligibility. I know I don't do primer or whatever, I just don't really care, to be honest. I'm very lazy. Even though primer would allow my eyeshadow to stick better. We're gonna go in with I don't know, this is from Joycey, which I got from Cosme, and like I've been looking forever for like a pigmented palette, and like something I hate about like East Asian makeup is that it's so unpigmented. And like that's what I like about like Sephora and like I guess more Western like beauty brands, because they definitely go like more pigmented for makeup, because that's what white people like, and like unfortunately I also enjoy that. So anyway, this is like low cost relatively because I got it at Cosme, and I would say rather pigmented, and like I love the packaging, it's so pretty, so I like it. Anyway, O1. So you can also like be like a member of this super like esteemed like organization. I don't know what they are, to be fair, because like I wouldn't qualify for an O1 anyway, but like you gotta be like a member of like this like esteemed organization, I suppose, like if you want to qualify for an O1 visa. Or you can get like articles published about yourself. You can get articles published about yourself, or you can like have like publications that you've like made in like a very reputable research journal. So it can't just be anything. It's got to be like reputable like research journals. If you want to get an O1 visa, or like published material, like media coverage, or like just anything that proves that like you are like the shit, I guess. So that's an O1 visa. I think you get the idea. Like I don't really know too much about it because I would never qualify for O1, but that is an option. And like I have heard of people who were like in research who weren't exactly hot shit, who managed to get an O1 anyway. But like that, to be fair, that is what people have told me on the internet. Like I don't even know if it's like genuine or not. And like, by the way, I'm trying to go for like pinkier colors, but I'm told that like my features are too prominent to do that. And like people tell me different things, so some of my friends are too nice and they don't tell me the truth. So but like internet strangers are mean as well, so like I don't really know what's best for my eyes and what isn't, but we're gonna like try anyway. Oh, I like this red shade. I think it's a bit much, but it's okay. I'll just pat it out. Oh, pretty. I think it's pretty. Maybe you guys don't think it's pretty, but I think it's pretty. So that's okay. So that's O1. And like there's also, let me get to permanent immigration status. So the reason why I talked about like H1B having like a distinction between like permanent immigration status and like why I wouldn't say immigrants are stealing jobs is because we have these permanent immigration visas, which are like they are immigrant intent. So compared to all the visas that we just talked about, H1B, O1, F1, these are not immigrant visas. So you're not supposed to be able to immigrate on these visas, even though for some categories it's illegal, like you're allowed to. So let's talk about immigrant visas. And sorry, I don't know if it's a bit dark. Maybe it is. Let's just blend it out a little bit like this. Like hopefully I'll take some pigment off. I clearly don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a makeup artist. I'm just talking about immigration. But like bear with me. So let's talk about immigrant visas. Oh shit, I forgot to do my foundation. I got this from, what's it called? I think this is from Makeup Forever. And I think it's the most expensive thing that I own besides the Rare Beauty blush, but it's so good. I have dry skin, so this is really, this is really just done the deal for me. And like I've got OCD, so like I cannot put anything on my face without freaking out, which is why my skin is so dry. And like I don't normally use foundation, but this one I will make exceptions for. And also because like it doesn't really seem like skin. Okay, the thing I don't like about like makeup in Asia is they're gonna be like, when you buy stuff they're like, oh sweetie, maybe you should go like a shade darker because like your skin is like really like it doesn't match your skin tone. Like they really want you to be like light skin, but like I don't really care about that, to be honest. So I'm just kind of like, okay, well screw you. So this matches my skin tone because I don't really care about looking like I don't really care about like looking darker or lighter than I actually am. Even though I do think a tan looks good. By the way, don't go and tan yourselves on the tanning bed for too long because like you will get skin cancer and it looks stupid if you are super burnt. Do you see? It's like shiny but like also like matches my skin tone. I love that for myself. Anyways, okay, let's get to the point. EB3 is a permanent sorry, not permanent, but like it is immigrant intent. Wow, do I already have none? It's like jammed up here, but it is immigrant intent. And like what that means is like you can like they will expect you to immigrate on an EB3. Like they will expect you to have immigrant intent, so you don't have to lie about like not having any attempt to immigrate to the United States. So usually these go to like there's 3 categories, okay, for EB3. So like there's skilled, unskilled, and professional. And skilled and professional works pretty similarly. So the only difference is, I mean, I don't really know the particulars, but like the only difference between skilled and unskilled is that for skilled, you just need to have like 2 years of like work experience in that field. And then for EB3 professional, you need to have like a 2-year degree. I said 2 or 4, I don't remember, but like you need to have like a degree to do your job. So like that's the distinction between those 2 fields. Am I already running out of makeup? I swear to God. Oh no, we're not. Okay, it's just jammed. But okay, so like EB3s, skilled and professional, they'd be like chefs or like plumbers or teachers, and it's like, oh my gosh, but like even like these kinds of jobs like that are like blue collar can get a visa, then like how come everyone just doesn't get a visa? Well, Karen, it's because sorry, I lost my train of thought. But like it's because like these jobs, like not everyone can afford to sponsor like a plumber, an electrician, or a teacher. That's why these people don't tend to immigrate on these visas. And like if they do, they're like a super specialized like sushi chef, or like they do some kind of job like that. So yeah, this is the Rare Beauty blush. It's also one of the most expensive makeup that I own. And I love it so much because it's just lasted me for years. It's so pigmented. You only need like 2 or 3 drops, I would say, and like that's it. So let me like put like a little bit, and I guess all the girlies are doing like hearts in their cheeks, so let's do that because it just looks really fun. But anyways, that's EB3. And let me like scroll down, check my other notes. So when you apply for EB3, like I said, the distinction between EB3 and H1B is that they do check whether or not you are stealing jobs from an American. And how they do that is through a process called PERM. And PERM stands for Program Electronic Review Management, which is so stupid, but it tells you the bureaucracy of like U.S. Like immigration systems. But like, you see, it's so pigmented. I'm doing a little bit more than I usually do because I'm doing a video, but like it's so pigmented, and I low-key look like a monkey's ass when I do this. But do you see? It is getting to my hair, which is starting to uncurl, but that's okay. I'm not going out because it is 1 a.m. So anyways, they do a perm, and there's multiple steps to a perm. Not for your hair, by the way, for immigration, but there's multiple steps to a perm when you do one, and you've got to prove it's their way of proving that like you're not stealing jobs from like an American. And okay, oh, I think we put on a little bit too much because it's going down here, but yeah, this is her beauty blush, and like I guess I could blend it up here. Don't be afraid to go into your hair, by the way, that's okay. So yeah, a perm. It's like a multi-step process. So let's go into the steps. And like because I think it would help like talk about like my gripes with immigration. So okay, step 1 of the perm is they do a PWD, which is called like prevailing wage determination. And it's basically your employer submits a request to the Department of Labor to ask like what's the right wage to pay for your job, because like there's a common misconception that immigrants get paid less than like Americans, and that's why people want to hire immigrants. That's not true. We get paid the same as you. So that's like I don't really know any jobs where they would do that. I could be wrong, okay? Like I could be wrong. Maybe there are. I'm sure there's people being exploited around the world and in America when you're an immigrant, but I wouldn't know, and I don't really know anyone who is. So please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But also let me get my contour. Now I don't really know how to contour. I'm pretty bad at it, but I do like to contour my nose because it is a bit flat and like a bit wonky. So let me just go and do that. But like yeah, so your first step is called the PWD, which is prevailing wage determination. So after your PWD, which takes a couple of months, then they do a market test. And a market test is like your bona fide attempt by your employer to try to find an American who can do your job. And you can't just be like, oh, we reject this person for like no other reason. You can't do that. If they're technically qualified to do the job, then your market test has already failed. So like they test whether or not Americans can. And like some people are so crazy that they've got Facebook groups to like immediately jump on any job offerings that are supposed to be from market tests just so the foreigner doesn't get the job. So that runs for like a couple months, and like you've got a certain grace period of a couple months as well. And if you pass the market test, then you submit your perm. And the date that the perm is received by the DOL is called or is it USCIS? I don't know. It's called your priority date, which is your PD. So let's just call it your PD for short. And like your PD determines when you're allowed to file these 2 very important forms. Okay, so those 2 forms is your form I-485 and your form I-40. And 485 is your application for permanent residency. So it's your application form for a green card. And your form I-140 is proving that you are eligible for EB3. So it like basically is a test to prove that like you're eligible to like do that visa path. Which like, okay, let's get to the crux of this issue, which I sound like GPT. I'm sorry, I didn't use GPT in any of this, I promise. But like the crux of this issue is that like you, after all this stuff in the perm, then you will get your EB3. So basically you have to pray. You've got to pray that like you have some kind of visa type while your EB3, while your perm is being processed, that allows you to stay in the States legally, because while it's being processed, you're not actually allowed to stay there until you get your EB3 approved. So like you better be on F1, which as we said is expensive. You need to show Form I-20 and like already have that money in your account or like an H-1B or some other kind of visa, but that would probably like set off a couple like red flags for your employer anyway. So like on the USCIS anyway, be like, why is this bitch attempting to stay here? Like, oh, they're trying to immigrate, and that's bad. So like technically you can't actually do that. So anyway, so that's when you get like your form 485 and your form I-140, and your PD, I would say it's like backlogged right now. I don't know how backlogged it is, but again, it depends on which country you're from. So if you're from, well, at least it's a face palette, not an eyeshadow palette, so don't come for me that I'm using it on my face. I don't really care. And like, yes, I am using my finger, but that's how they did it in the 90s. So I'm just being authentic. Let me get this on. Yes. Oh, so pretty. Okay, so anyways, like, you gotta pray that you have like another visa that's going on for you while you wait for your form for your EB3 to be approved. And like, if you're from a certain country, it will take you a very long time to get your form, like your priority date to become current, when you can file your like application for a green card, and like that would also takes a very long time. So like India, you're gonna wait over 100 years, and China, you're gonna wait like 15 plus. So then the issue here is like, why would somebody like willingly hire you if they're gonna be waiting like years and years and years before you're allowed to like actually work for them, you know? Like, it doesn't make sense anymore. So anyways, like, oh, it's a bit shiny now. So if you're on rest of world and you're lucky enough to be born in another country than that lot, then you are called ROW, which means rest of world. So the perm takes 2 years, your form I-140 is 9 months, your form 485 is 2.5 years, so in total you're waiting 4.5 years to get your EB3. If you're from India or China, I already mentioned it takes forever, so like it's all backlogged. And like, the question to ask yourself is like, why would your employer sponsor you for EB3 if they have to wait years and years and years for you to legally be like able to work there? But the upside of an EB3 is that it lets you work there, and like basically you've got all the rights of like a legal citizen without actually being one. You can't vote, but like you have the right to like live and work there indefinitely. That's why EB3s are so attractive. But yeah, so I guess like we've already talked about pro and like professional and skilled categories. So there's also unskilled, which is like janitors, like farmhands. But the thing is, like, it's very unlikely that you're gonna get this visa because like you need money to like apply for an EB3. Like, you pay some fees and also your employer pays some fees, and it's like, why would they do that? You know, they could just hire an American to do it. So it doesn't really make any sense. Now, I guess there's a workaround called Schedule A. And jobs that are designated as Schedule A means that the government has already found out that there aren't enough people who are willing to like in the US who are willing to do that job, or like they can't find enough, so they designated those jobs as Schedule A. By the way, this is I think that's from Etude House, and like Hong Kong no longer has Etude House, which is really sad because like their stuff is really affordable and I really like it. But I got this when Etude House was still around. Yes, I know my makeup is crusty, but whatever. So, like, you're not supposed to rub it, but I also don't care. So, Schedule A jobs means that Americans, they cannot find enough Americans to do your job. So what happens with Schedule A is that you get to skip the perm, which skips a lot of time. But at the end of the day, you're also waiting on the same, like, EB3 visa bulletin, like, priority date time, along with everybody else. Like, you're all waiting on the same wait line. So it doesn't really make any difference. so like, if you're a nurse or a physical therapist, then you are on Schedule A. But like, you're gonna have to do, like, there's a whole nother process. If you're a nurse, like, you gotta do like CGFNS or like to qualify, and like you gotta work a certain number of years in your home country, or like, you know, I'm not gonna get into it because like I do know about it, but this video is not about nursing. But yeah, so there's also no mandatory recruitment campaign because they've already proven that Americans cannot do your job, so they wouldn't do that. But like, yeah, that's EB3, and like I've already gone into like why it's hard, and like also I guess the benefits and like the pros and cons of EB3 and H1B. Okay, last one, family sponsorship. I don't know much about sibling sponsorship because like only your direct family member is allowed to sponsor you for a visa, and they have to be over 18. Like they cannot be a child. Like I think people like, especially racists, they have this idea that people like crawl into the US and like there's a pregnant mother and they give birth to like their child on US soil, and like, oh my gosh, we finally got one of our spawn in the United States, so like therefore like they can sponsor me, and like that doesn't work like that. So like, and even if it did, there's like a huge backlog depending on which country you're from, for like sponsoring like your direct family members. So like it could take like up to 30 years even if you're like a direct like family member. So I know there's a PragerU video where they're like, oh my gosh, like isn't that like so like ridiculous, like one person can sponsor like 10 other people from a foreign country, because like they're a direct family member. Like no, the backlogs take forever, it doesn't work like that. So yeah, that's not really happening, even though like it is a legitimate visa path. So I'm like trying to find like hairs that are not perfectly curled, and I have found one. One's pissing me off. So let's do something about that. Anyway, what was I saying? So that's like your direct family sponsor. Now the most famous direct family sponsor, as we all know, is the marriage visa. And like I don't really know how that works. I guess I know a little bit because I dated an American, which I have talked about somewhat if you know me. And his mother did not like me because I was an American, which I find ironic because she also immigrated because she got married, so I find that super ironic. But marriage, that's the most common, like the one that everybody knows about. Do you know why the show is called 90 Day Fiancé? It's because if you get a marriage visa where like you promise to get married in the US, you only get 90 days to get married, and if you don't get married within 90 days, then you have to leave the country. That's why it's called 90 Day Fiancé. But there's two types of marriage visas. So one of them is like you're already married and like you're applying to like be recognized as a married couple in the States, and like your spouse can get a green card, I guess. And the other way is like you're not married but you plan to get married in the States and then apply for a card later. I think it's like K1 or K2 or K2 or K3, I don't remember, but like marriage visas start with K. And I guess like, you know, like they will, like everybody knows, they will interview you, they'll ask you questions, you can't you gotta give like the correct answers, and if you get a couple of these ones wrong, then like you're fucked. So and like it is a very stringent process. I think like a common misconception about like getting like a marriage visa is the idea that like, oh, I'll just marry you and you'll get a visa and then we'll get divorced and then like it'll be good. It doesn't work like that. So you have to be like, they'll give you like a provisional like if you pass the interview and stuff, they'll give you a provisional green card, so it lasts 3 years and then you have to constantly renew it, and then after that you can apply for like a 5-year green card, which is, green cards only last for 5 years, by the way. So every time you renew your green card, like you have to renew it every 5 years. Like you can't just like keep it forever. But obviously it stays in the system, and they'll know that like you have a green card, I guess. And like anyway, at first they'll give you like a 3-year green card, and then you can apply for like a 5-year one, which is the permanent green card. But like I guess like they do some checks to like make sure that you're still married and stuff, like when you're applying for it. So realistically, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but realistically, if you want to get married, you're looking at like 7 years of staying married before you get the card. So like the question is like, why would somebody want to marry you knowing that like they would have to like truly love you? They would have to truly want to spend like that much time of their lives being with you, 7 years of their life being with you. So like for you to get that visa, it doesn't make any sense, right? If you're getting married for this, you either like have like a really strong commitment, or like your family made you marry them, or like you have some kind of like blackmail going on, or like you're like super lonely, or like you genuinely really really love them. And like having been through a relationship where we knew that we were gonna have to undergo this process, and like his mom underwent the same process, having been in a relationship where we knew that was gonna have to be the process, he did mention that like, I'm just not willing to stick through that process with you. And I can't even blame him, to be honest. I can't, because it's so stressful. Like you someone has to love you to want to go through all that with you. They have to, like, you can't just be anybody. You have to have a certain income amount, and to be fair, it's not a lot, but like they basically have to prove that they're able to support you being unemployed in the States because you don't have your work authorization while you are applying for a green card. I know people are like, oh, these immigrants don't work, they do whatever. It's not, the reason they can't work is because they're not qualified. They're not legally allowed to work until they get that visa. But because the backlogs are so long, like, they're unemployed for like that amount of time because they can't legally work, then they'd be illegally immigrating, you know. So they got to do all that with you. Then they also have to do the visa interview with you. They've got to like go through all these hoops, and like it's more likely that you'll be accepted if like you're the same ethnicity, the same cultural background, the same ages, like similar languages. So like, yes, you can get a mail order bride, of course, I guess, but like I guess the question to ask is like, why would an American want to marry you? Or like, I'm not saying this like, oh, Americans are so like better than us or whatever. I'm not saying that. I don't believe that either. It's just that like, why would somebody who has the privilege of being in a country that you want to go to want to marry you? Because like, they have to jump through all these hoops. So like, it's easier for them to marry somebody within their home country than to marry you, because like, you're gonna be paying like legal fees, you're gonna be paying money to get married, besides just the wedding, you know, like, you're gonna have to like do so much. Then it's like, why would somebody want to marry you? And I'm not saying that immigrants are undesirable or like bad or whatever. It's just that like, the obvious question that you're asking is like, why would people go through this hoops? Like, why would most people want to go through these hoops with you when they could just avoid it and marry like a regular citizen, you know? But yeah, that's the U.S. immigration process. I hope that you've maybe gotten some more perspective on how immigration works in the U.S. If not, that's fine too, but that would be really saddening. I do really want to go. But unfortunately, I just wasn't born there. And I've got my own reasons for why I want to go. I know that people are going to be like, well, why do you want to go? Because, like, it seems so hard and so stupid, and, like, it's not even that great of a country anyway, so, like, why do you want to do it? Because, well, I guess that's for another video. But, yeah, I hope that maybe it gave you some more perspective on what immigration is like, and, maybe some more sympathy, I suppose, for people in that process. And I guess what I've been thinking about recently. So, makeup's done, by the way. Lip gloss is a Sephora brand. I know, don't come for me. But, like, it was cheap, so whatever. So, like, yeah, I hope that helped. It is 1:30, so I need to go to bed now, even though it's a shame because it looks so good. But, I hope that you maybe have some more perspective, and I hope that you enjoyed it, even though I've gone on so many tangents. So, good night, or good morning, wherever it is you are, if it's morning for you, or night for you. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.